part 2. Now, it is indexing the first value of each one of these mini tables, which in this case, if it indexed this mini table, it would be the string material. Then it would set the property that indexed in M, which is the object that we created, or a part or something, to ABC2, which is the second value of the table. So if it indexed material, it would set it to enum.material.cobblestone, which is basically a pre-made picture that Roblox has that you can set parts to. So the effect is it will look like stone. And once it goes through all these, you will have a part that that was created in the process of building. And it does that for all the tables. Each one of these tables is one part. So it'll do that for all the tables inside the massive table, and it will create a giant model. This is all the functions. So once it creates a part, how do I get it to kill you once you touch it? Like the lava. So I go, if ABC1, that's what it's setting it to, is equal to brick color, that's the color of the brick, and ABC2, that's what it's setting it to, is equal to brick color.new bright red. So in other words, if it's setting it to brick color and the brick color is equal to bright red, then it will do this. Now m.touched, this is a little pre-programmed thing that Roblox has. Once you touch the part, every time you touch the part, this connect thing connects this function to it. So every time you touch the part, it will execute this function with the argument thing, which is what touched it. So part-wise. So let's say your left leg touched it. Left leg is a part. So you index the parent. If it finds a humanoid inside of that parent, it searches for a humanoid and it does an if statement. If that humanoid exists, then it sets its health to 0. So in other words, if you touch it, it will kill you. Now, another one is if it's equal to name and equal to G-light, which is what I use to light the obby, because I've scattered various lights around to make it look like a constant dim light, it will create a point light, which is a light emitting from one point. So it's a light going in all directions. And I have another one. If it's equal to name and it's setting it to mauve. Now this is the name of the moving part. There are moving pegs at the end that I created with loops and math functions. Now I'm going to explain this. Part. This is setting a local variable equal to m, which is the object. So then a coroutine. This is something. Now if you set a while loop or something, it will delay the rest of the script. But if you execute inside of a coroutine, which is another pre-made function that Roblox has basically, then it will not hinder the rest of the script. So the stuff in here can be executed without delaying the rest of the script, which is good because I'm going to do that for about 50 parts. So it creates it sets 3 variables because this function, another pre-made function, returns 3 variables. It's taking the C frame, which is the rotation and position of the part. It's taking the rotation of that and setting it to 3 variables. Now this is going to be a center point rotation because some of them are rotated and I want them to maintain that rotation while they move. It has a while loop with waits 0.1 seconds and then returns the amount it waited, so it's not equal to nothing. So it will do this forever, and it will wait zero point 0.1 seconds. So it goes through it starts a for loop 1 through 359 because of the rotation. I'm using sine and cosine. Now it's going through math. Now it goes up through math.random. So it goes 1 and then plus math.random 8 through 12 divided by 2. Now the reason why I have a random value and not a solid number is because if they all went out at once, then they would look all simultaneous. They would be moving all the same, and they would be moving all the same. So I have it random, so they'll kind of vary. They'll move. Just makes it look more natural. And then it waits 0.1 seconds. It creates two variables equal to the sine and cosine of math.radians I. I is the variable of what the number of loop it's on is. Now it sets the C frame, which is the rotation and position of the part, which I defined earlier, to cframe.new, taking all the positions of the part, and then multiplying it by angles. This basically adds an angle. So if it's 0, 0, 0, and you add angle like 90 degrees, it will be C frame 0, 0, 0 with a 90 degree turn wherever you put it. And then I'm multiplying that by another thing, cframe.new, this. This will make it move in circles and up and down. Make it move around, basically. Sine and cosine, because it's moving in circles and up and down. It's just moving. And then I multiply by angles, and then I use angles with the cosine and sine. So basically I'm rearranging the cosine and sine of the math.radian of the for loop variable. And this creates sort of a moving bobbing effect in the lava pool. I'm going to show you this earlier. Now, I have the if statement up here somewhere. If it's not equal to transparency, here it is. Okay, it'll do all that. But if it is equal to transparency, then it sets a variable x equal to 2 number. Now the ABC2 is a string, maybe. So let's say it's a string of 1, it will set that to a number 1. This is another pre-made function of Roblox. Now it's done with that. Now it indexes if x is existent, and if it is, it will do this, which goes if for I, which is in our for loop, equals 1 through x. So let's say its transparency is 0, which is totally transparent. Then it will go from 1 through x, -1. Now I did this so it would do it much faster, because the fade delays the effect. It delays it. So you won't be able to see the fade effect, but if I set this to something like 0.1, you would see it fading. Now m.transparency equals I, and it waits. So if this was 0.1 and the transparency was 0, it would wait about it would wait 1/30th of a second 10 times. And then and once it's done going through all the things, it removes the laser. Now, there's that. Now I'm going to execute this script. Multimollusk character model. Here it goes. Never mind. The player, forgot about this. I am named player 1 in Studio. I'm not named Multimollusk.